The perennial question, what is the purpose of life? The key word here is purpose. What is the purpose of life? Three words: purpose, meaning, value, in relation to life, in relation to work, in relation to what we want, what we accumulate, what we possess. Purpose of life is a whole new, whole different subject. In a nutshell, each person has to define his or her own purpose of life. One of the quotations that I found it interesting, which I basically scoffed at it when I first read it, and more I realized the value in it, and that is the purpose of life is to find the purpose of life. Such a rhetoric question and such a rhetoric answer. It may take us a lifetime to really find the purpose of a life, and that would be very quick if we did. So in other words, it's an evolutionary process. What I think or feel a purpose of life is at a given time may evolve over time. Then I might find a more evolved purpose of life, and then I live that, or I seek it, and at some point that can evolve into a different purpose of life or a more evolved purpose of life, and so forth. So it could be an ever-moving target, or it is an evolving purpose. It just evolves, or you can go deeper into it. One of the answers that I loved, that the purpose of life is to serve, to be of service, to be of help. And purpose of life is to know yourself, to know who you truly are. And it's for each person to find value in it. It's for each person to find purpose in it. It's for each person to go deeper into it, to the point when you lose yourself into it. It's for each person to delve into it and to discover it. It's not something you do, you actually find it. It is a discovery process. You can find a violin for $25, or you can find a violin for 100, 500,000. And you all know the $1 million plus violins made in certain period by certain craftsmen in Italy, because that person made it one at a time and one violin in a year. And that person and his work has survived for hundreds of years. Quality, purpose, or purposeful. Each person has to find that for themselves. What would that be? It would be what is meaningful for that person. Whatever I'm engaged in, is it meaningful for me? We are not making some absolute judgment here. This type of work or this type of engagement is meaningful and that type of engagement is not meaningful. No one can really make that absolute judgment. From that perspective, perhaps the most meaningful of all work there is on this planet would be motherhood. A mother brings or co-creates another human being. She participates in a miracle of life. She becomes a co-creator and brings forth a new life on this planet. I cannot think of another more meaningful role someone can play. Another meaningful, which is essential, is of a farmer. The value of this planet Earth is because we can grow food. We can habitate. There's a whole temperature and the entire ecosystem. It's the biosphere. The Earth supports the biosphere. What else is meaningful? You have a house, you have a car, you have a job, you have food, you have technology. Now what? That's the question. All of this is meaningful, by the way. You need a mode of transportation, you need education, you need food, you need good health. Is all good. But is that all, or am I still seeking something more meaningful in my life? These things take care of me physically. What about mentally? What about emotionally? What about spiritually? In the past, things of physical nature were considered meaningful and of value. If I cannot touch it, there is no value in it. If I cannot touch it, if I cannot see it, what's the meaning in it? So-called in terms of secularism and practicality and person of logic, person of intelligence. Don't talk about things to me which I cannot see or touch or smell. So things of physical nature had more value. Things which I could experience with my senses were of value. As we are moving away from the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, into the Sat Yuga, or a more evolved era of life, different things, again, I'm using the wrong word, it's not a thing. Something else becomes of more value. For example, in the medical field or even in work environment, mental health has become something of prominence. Companies are looking into the mental health. Individuals are looking into their mental health. And some of the more forward-looking companies and school systems and so forth are now talking about or looking into social emotional health, emotional intelligence. Something of even more value. So looking into emotional stuff is more value than mental, is of more value than physical, provided all of that is taken care of. There, it's really not more of a value. All of that stand on their own. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, these are the four quadrants Stephen Covey talks about. There are other methods and processes that look into the four aspects of personality. We all have these four dimensions and aspects of personality, and each one of us at some point or the other looks into it. Obviously, when somebody is hungry, somebody is diseased, that person is not going to look for a sermon. That person wants good health and food. When someone is hungry, all they can think of is food, 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 food. They're looking for food constantly. When someone feels unsafe, the person is just constantly looking for a shelter, just a safe shelter. That's it. What is the value? What is of value? Each person has to decide that. What value am I seeking? What experiences which are of value to me in my life? There's no right or wrong answer. There's no one specific hierarchy other than the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I could argue that spiritual is the highest of all hierarchy, and I would be right, but really all four of them have to exist. This is not a matter of choice. This is a matter of I need all four of them for a complete human experience. So in the end, it's not me comparing myself to others. It's about me having a more complete experience where I find value in it, where I find meaning in it, which I find purposeful. I am the one who's going to define what the purpose of my life is. And it's going to come from my heart. It's not going to come from books. It's not going to come from anywhere. What do you want? What makes you happy? What do I want? What makes me happy? What does my heart really want? In terms of manifestation, you cannot manifest something that is not in your heart. Whatever you really, 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 really want, which is what you love, which is what makes you happy, it's what makes you happy, it's what you love. It's about that. So there's no right or wrong. Peanuts for some are so enjoyable, for some it's deadly. It's just that. I have to figure it out. I have to find what is suitable for me. No, it's not selfish. I have to find what I love. If I am not doing something every single day that I love, then what is the point for the rest of the day? Why am I engaged myself in doing something or engaged in something that I don't love? Why? Why do it? But the point is, can I spend 5 minutes a day, 50 minutes a day, 5 hours a day? Imagine all the day doing something that I love, that energizes me, where the time flies, where I'm no longer looking at the watch, where I'm no longer distracted looking at the phone, wanting to escape this current situation. That is purposeful. That is meaningful. That is of value. All of that, imagine, and you raise the quality of it. That's what the world needs. That is of service or can be of service to the world.